You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 10th of April. US hands over 2611 accused to India after double jeopardy battle. India eyes quick US trade deal amid tariff pause. And Nepal begins efforts to exit FATF grey list. And now for all the details. In a significant development, Pakistani-Canadian citizen and a key accused in the 2008 Mumbai attacks, Tahawwur Rana was successfully extradited from the United States and landed in New Delhi on Thursday. Upon arrival, Rana was taken into NIA custody and is expected to be produced before a special court in Delhi for further proceedings. The central government has appointed Advocate Narinder Maan as special public prosecutor in conducting the trial against Rana and his associate David Coleman Headley, who is in U.S. prison following a plea deal. 64-year-old Rana is accused of aiding Lashkar-e-Taiba operative Headley in conducting reconnaissance for the 2611 attacks, which claimed 166 lives and injured over 239 people in Mumbai. His extradition follows the U.S. Supreme Court's rejection of his final plea to halt the process on April 4, 2025, clearing the way for his transfer under India-U.S. Extradition Treaty of 1997. According to sources, countering double jeopardy offense and India's diplomatic influence, along with amicable relations with the United States, played a pivotal role in expediting Rana's extradition.
तहव्वुर राना को भारत फाइनली लेकर आ रहे हैं, इस बात से मैं बहुत खुश हुई। ये इंडिया की सबसे बड़ी जीत हो रही है आतंकवाद के खिलाफ के लिए, तो मैं इस बात से बहुत खुशी हो रही है मुझे। मैं पहले तो इंडियन गवर्नमेंट की और यूएस गवर्नमेंट की मैं धन्यवाद कहना चाहती हूँ उन्हें कि इस बात को उन्होंने, यूएस वाले ने भी हमें काफी सपोर्ट किया है हमारी इंडियन गवर्नमेंट को, तो इस बात से मुझे काफी खुशी हो रही है। मेरी एक ही मांग है कि तहव्वुर राना को लाने के बाद उससे जल्द एक इन्फॉर्मेशन निकाले आतंकवाद के खिलाफ, जो पाकिस्तान में आज भी छुप कर बैठे हैं, उन लोगों के बारे में पता चले। 26/11 की प्लानिंग इनकी कैसी थी, क्या था, क्यों किया गया, ये सारी चीजें के बारे में पता चले और तहव्वुर राना को भी जल्द से जल्द फांसी की सजा हो।
No, undoubtedly, it's a big achievement. It's an achievement for Government of India. It's an achievement for Ministry of External Affairs, and above all, it's an achievement of National Investigation Agency, which has been following the case, which has been pursuing the case, which has been providing all the information to U.S. authorities for extradition.
And India's Trade Minister Piyush Goyal on Thursday said New Delhi was expecting to sign a bilateral trade deal with the United States after President Donald Trump's stunning decision to pause retaliatory tariffs on dozens of countries while hiking levies on China. India and the US agreed in February to work on the first phase of a trade deal set for completion by autumn 2025, aiming to reach two-way trade worth $500 billion by 2030. The 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs is a relief for Indian exporters, an official told Reuters earlier, adding that India is among the first nations to start talks on a deal with the US and to have jointly agreed on a deadline to conclude it. The pause on additional tariffs for dozens of countries came less than 24 hours after their implementation began. However, the White House maintained a 10% blanket duty on nearly all US imports. India is considering measures such as extending interest subsidies on bank loans and offering incentives to support exporters, media reports said.
भारत तो बहुत समझदारी से इस पूरे विषय को पहले से संभाल रही है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी और प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप ने फरवरी में ही निर्णय ले लिया था कि हम आपसी संबंध बढ़ाते हुए बायलैटरल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट एक ऐसा करार करेंगे जो भारत और यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स के बीच व्यापार को सरल भी करेगा 500 बिलियन तक यानी आज से 2.5 गुना बढ़ाने का काम भी करेगा।
A search and cordon operation was underway on Thursday in Udhampur and nearby regions in India's Jammu and Kashmir territory a day after a tense encounter broke out. The joint operation by the security forces followed 17 days of intelligence tracking, with earlier encounters reported in Kathua district since March 24. The 2-hour clash involved retaliatory firing by security forces, who have since cordoned off the area to prevent the terrorists from escaping. According to a senior police official, 2 to 3 terrorists are hiding in the middle of the jungle, which is surrounded by rough terrain. The operation was underway till the last reports came in. Meanwhile, the Indian Army on Thursday held a flag meeting with Pakistani officials along the line of control. While details of the meeting were not revealed, media reports suggest the meeting was called after repeated requests by Pakistan. The agenda was largely related to ongoing border-related issues and recent ceasefire violations by Pakistan, reports have suggested. Meanwhile, Pakistan's textile industry is eyeing new business opportunities as the US-China trade war escalates, with hopes of filling the gap left by rising tariffs. But experts warn the sector still faces risks if steep US tariffs return once the 90-day pause ends.
Pakistan's textile sector is looking at opportunities to grab business as the US and China steadily hike tariffs amid an escalating trade war, Fawad Anwar, chairman of the Pakistan Textile Council, said on Wednesday. The $17 billion textile industry is Pakistan's top exporter and largest employer. President Trump on Wednesday paused hefty tariffs on many countries for 90 days, but not on China. Trump raised tariffs on Chinese goods to 125%, up from 104%. In response, China had earlier raised tariffs on US imports to 84%, vowing to fight to the end.
This is a war between the two giants, and everything else is collateral damage. The whole world is a collateral damage. How well we can negotiate, how much business we can grab from China, and there is an opportunity to grab from China. How well we can do that, that depends on how well we can sit on the table and negotiate.
Pakistan narrowly avoided a 29% tariff hike after Trump's 90-day pause. However, a 10% duty still applies to most US imports. Experts warn Pakistan's textile exports could lose up to $2 billion if the higher tariff returns.
Works for US as well because they cannot sustain this 29%. The US retailer or the US consumer or the US suppliers like Pakistan or specific companies, nobody can sustain this big of a percentage increase. So this issue has to be resolved in short term.
And the US State Department has confirmed reports of its suspension of aid to the World Food Programme in Afghanistan. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said the WFP awards Washington terminated in Afghanistan were based on credible and long-standing concerns that the money was benefiting the Taliban. The WFP website says the agency provided emergency food and cash to nearly 12 million Afghans last year, prioritizing the help for women and girls facing extreme hunger. The UN says the US has so far given $206 million in assistance for Afghanistan this year. Last year, it was the largest donor, giving $736 million. A Taliban official said humanitarian aid is vital for reducing poverty and it should not be used for political objectives. And amid criticism for inaction, the Nepal government has begun groundwork to exit the country from the Financial Action Task Force grey list, where it was placed for the second time following a February 2025 meeting in Paris. The FATF cited Nepal's failure to meet key anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing obligations. On Wednesday, the Finance Ministry announced that an action plan with defined responsibilities and timelines will be finalized and implemented. Nepal risks being blacklisted within 2 years if it fails to make necessary reforms. Deputy PM and Finance Minister Bishnu Prasad Podal emphasized the need for both short-term compliance and a long-term strategy to avoid future grey listings. Despite legislative progress, Nepal still struggles with enforcement, investigation and regulation of high-risk sectors like real estate and cooperatives, according to the Asia-Pacific Group on Money Laundering. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.